Washington, D.C. Signing off.
This is Radio Romania International. You are listening to... You can find us on Facebook, Twitter and other social media platforms. Our program is also available on via satellite Eurosat 16A, 11,512 megahertz, vertical polarization, 16 degrees, 29 mega symbols per second, standard DVB-S2, modulation 8 PSK, audio PID 510. We wish you good reception conditions.
Hello, I'm your host Elena Yanake, bringing you the news. First, the headlines. The second stage of the anti-COVID vaccination campaign continues in Romania. The EU will support Moldova to carry out reforms and fight against corruption. Romanian trade unionists have protested for decent salaries, pensions and taxation, and countries and Western organizations are asking for the release of Alexei Navalny, arrested upon returning to Moscow. Almost 205,000 Romanians have been vaccinated against the new coronavirus so far, with minor and common side effects having been reported in several hundred patients. Sunday was also the first day when the second dose of vaccine was given to the medical staff from infectious diseases hospitals, who opened the national vaccination campaign on December 27. The second stage of the campaign continues for people over the age of 65, those with chronic diseases, as well as for the staff working in key areas. On Monday, about 1,500 new cases of COVID-19 were reported in Romania, bringing the total number of cases to 700,000. More than 17,000 Romanians have died from COVID-19, and about 1,000 are in intensive care. Cartel Alpha, one of the largest trade union confederations in Romania, has called on the presidential administration to mediate the social conflict between government and unionists so that their demands should be covered by the 2021 national budget. The unions are asking for a decent minimum salary, reasonable pensions, fair taxation and quality public services. Cartel Alpha picketed the presidential headquarters on Monday and will continue protest actions across the country further into January and February in an attempt to put pressure on the authorities. The Bucharest government moves on with the drafting of this year's budget, which is based on a deficit target of 7% of the GDP. The German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas on Monday called on Russia to immediately release the opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who was arrested on Sunday upon his arrival to Moscow, France Press reports. Navalny returned from Berlin, where he had been hospitalized since August last year after being poisoned with the nerve agent Novichok. Maas also called for a thorough investigation into Navalny's poisoning and for bringing the perpetrators to justice. In turn, the British Foreign Minister Dominic Raab called on Russia to release Navalny immediately and said that Moscow had to explain how he was attacked with a chemical weapon. European Council President Charles Michel and the team of the US President-elect Joe Biden have called for Navalny's immediate release. In Bucharest, the Romanian Foreign Minister Bogdan Aurescu condemned the arrest of the Russian opponent and described the repression of the opposition as a purely undemocratic gesture. Navalny is accused by Russian authorities that by going to Germany, he violated the terms of a suspended sentence in a case which Navalny says was fabricated. The letter called on Russians on Monday to take to the streets against the power in a video posted shortly after a judge decided his detainment for 30 days. The President of the Republic of Moldova, the pro-Western Maia Sandu, is paying a 2-day visit to Brussels to re-establish ties with the European Union, ties which were affected by the policy of her pro-Russian predecessor Igor Dodon. Sandu met with the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who told her that she can count on the EU's support in the reform process and the battle against corruption. On Sunday, before the official visit, Maia Sandu already had a discussion with the head of the European Public Prosecutor's Office, the Romanian Laura Codruța-Kövesi, with whom she agreed on joint action to combat smuggling and money laundering. The first high-level visit that Maia Sandu received after taking office was on December 29, when her Romanian counterpart Klaus Iohannis went to Chișinău, where they adopted a joint declaration meant to strengthen the strategic partnership of the two neighboring countries. On average, in the European Union, public and private expenditure on preventive care accounted for 2.8% of the total health expenditure in 2018, with the highest shares recorded in Italy, 4.4%, and Finland, 4.0%, according to data made public by Eurostat on Monday. The lowest share of preventive care expenditure was reported in Slovakia, 0.8% of total health expenditure, followed by Greece, Cyprus and Malta, all with 1.3%, as well as Romania with 1.4%. Relative to population size, preventive care expenditure was highest among the EU member states in Sweden, Finland, Germany and the Netherlands in 2018, while it was lowest in Romania and Slovakia. Preventive care aims to avoid or reduce the number or the severity of injuries and diseases, their consequences and complications. And that was the news coming to you from Bucharest, Radio Romania International.
As of Sunday, the healthcare staff in Romania having chosen to be immunized against COVID-19 are receiving the second dose. The second phase of the vaccination program is also operational as of Friday. I'm Ana Maria Popescu with more in this report written by Corina Crista. The second phase of the national anti-COVID-19 vaccination program has started, whereas healthcare staff, whose immunization began on December the 27th, are already receiving the second dose. This stage of the program covers people over 65 years of age, chronic patients regardless of age, and workers in key sectors. Bookings are running smoothly, said Prime Minister Florin Cățu, who posted on his Facebook page a Health Ministry report according to which the elderly and chronic patients account for over 75% of the total appointments in the second phase. Things are as they should be. We are protecting the most vulnerable first, the Health Minister Vlad Voiculescu said in his turn. Nationwide, the Vaccination Coordination Committee announced over 300,000 people had been scheduled for vaccination in 2 days, out of the 365,000 spots available. The enrollment started on Friday afternoon, and on Sunday morning, both Bucharest and Cluj-Napoca in the northwest had run out of spots available. The requests outnumbered the current vaccination capabilities, with appointments depending both on the number of vaccine doses in stock at a particular point in time and on the number of requests, the campaign coordinators are saying. The dedicated online platform, covid.gov.ro, has reported over 2.5 million views. Around 50% of the appointments were conducted individually on this platform, the others over the phone via family physicians or employers. For the time being, in many counties, appointments are no longer available for the next 3 weeks. Meanwhile, efforts are made to open new vaccination centers. Only some of the over 650 centers scheduled to be available in this stage of the program are operational at present. For example, in Bucharest, where the most daily new infections are being reported, the second phase only began in the centers earmarked for the vaccination of healthcare staff at the start of the program. According to the Public Health Directorate, depending on the number of requests and vaccine doses available, Bucharest should have another 30 centers totaling 140 locations. Over 200,000 Romanians have so far received the new coronavirus vaccine, with several hundreds of minor and common side effects. Additional batches are scheduled to arrive in the country in the meantime.
Many Romanians spend their weekend in the mountains owing to the first snowfalls and the reopening of ski slopes around the country. I'm Cristina Matescu with this report by Daniela Pudu. With the extension of the state of alert over the coronavirus pandemic, a number of measures were taken in Romania regulating mountain tourism during the winter season. Ski slopes are still open, but measures are in place to prevent overcrowding, which the authorities view as the main factor in spreading the virus. Cable cars are allowed to fill half their usual seats, and restaurants and hotels near the ski slopes are subject to restrictions. There's been a lot of snow in Romania in recent days, and many people have traveled to the mountains over the weekend. The roads were full of traffic, almost like before the pandemic, as tourists flocked to the mountain resorts. This was the first weekend this season when almost all ski tracks were open, owing to the fresh layer of snow. To avoid overcrowding, skiers had to wait tens of minutes in line for a cable car. The authorities dispatched security forces to make sure rules are complied with. To cope with the high demand at the weekend, the Romanian Railways company added more carriages to the trains linking Bucharest to the mountain resorts in Prahova Valley and to the mountain city of Brașov. The so-called snow trains were also put into circulation. Until the end of February, 36 such trains will be ensuring daily connections to mountain resorts such as those in Prahova Valley and Dorna Valley. While a train journey from Bucharest to Brașov takes a little over 2 hours, traveling by car takes a longer time, owing to the traffic queues that form on certain sections of the road and which sometimes stretch for several kilometers. And if it also snows, then traffic becomes really difficult. This happens every winter in Romania because of a lack of alternative routes to the mountain resorts. As far as skiing is concerned, Romania only has some 200 licensed ski tracks with a total length of approximately 162 kilometers. This isn't a lot. In fact, it's what you get in a single ski resort in Austria or France, where tens of millions of euros are invested every year in skiing infrastructure. And that was Radio Newsreel.